There's this huge misconception that frequency controls how you are. It does not control you. It's not going to hypnotize you and lock you into something and make you think a certain way. There has been a lot of misconceptions about certain words that we hear in the quote unquote spiritual community, the wellness space, and specifically how it correlates to how people feel about their religion and the way that they live their lives in that way. I am always going to be the first person to say it's not religion or spirituality. They're both combined. They are one and the same. They overlap all in the same way. And a lot of it is the same thing, but said in a different way. So if you really understand why you're doing the things that you do, whether it's for religion or for your own personal spirituality, then you'll understand that we are talking about the same thing. So today I want to talk about the word frequency. I want to break it down. I want us to really get a grasp of what the word frequency means and what people mean when they reference the frequency of something. As an engineer by trade, as a Sagittarius by birth, I am someone who just loves knowledge. I love facts. I don't know, I feel like I had no choice but to be somewhat nerdy because of how I was born into this world. So I really want us to break down and have an understanding of what frequency is. So let's start by talking about the scientific definition of what frequency is. So the technical definition of frequency is the rate or pitch at which something is oscillating or moving. So literally the frequency of something is when we're talking about vibrations. So sorry, this isn't going to be nerdy at all. This isn't going to be super sciencey video, but when we talk about oscillating, it's literally how quickly something is moving. Or when we talk about sound, same way, it's the sound waves, how quickly they're vibrating. So it's the rate at which something is moving. It's the frequency of which something is happening. And when we talk about sound waves, it's the rate at which those sound waves are moving that creates the frequency or the level, the frequency, 420 hertz that we hear. So that's what frequency is by its technical definition. When we talk about the spiritual definition of frequency, we're saying the vibrational rate at which an individual's energy vibrates. Same exact concept, but on the spiritual side, we're talking about how someone is vibrating. I want to stop here and first talk about spirituality. When people talk about their spirituality or their spiritual, that is simply the acknowledgement of the spiritual side of them. The same way that we acknowledge our physical side, we acknowledge that we have a physical body that needs to go to the doctor, that needs to go to the gym, that walks through a door. We are also spiritual beings. We have a soul, we have a spirit, and that's what makes us human beings. So when we talk about when people talk about spirituality, I feel like there's a big misconception that it's a religion of its own, when in reality, especially speaking about Christianity, it talks about the fruit of the Spirit. It talks about the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Spirituality is just simply acknowledging and the focus on the spiritual side of who we are. So let's preface the video with that. Now that we know the technical and the spiritual definition of frequency, let's talk about the misconception of frequency. There's this huge misconception that frequency controls how you are. That is not the case. When you're hearing about a sound bath and the frequency of a sound bath, or even a video on YouTube where they're playing a certain frequency, it does not control you. It's not going to hypnotize you and lock you into something and make you think a certain way. It affects you. The same way that you may go outside and feel positively affected by the atmosphere, by the sun, the literal vitamin D that affects our body. And when we get vitamin D, we're able to operate in a way that we operate more optimally as humans. When we don't get enough vitamin D, we find ourselves having seasonal depression. We have other ailments that come from having that deficiency. Okay, so a frequency may affect you. If you hear a loud screeching noise, it literally makes your body tense up. And when you hear calming frequencies, they literally allow our body to to relax. It allows our body to go into a meditative state, and it affects our body in those more positive ways, okay? Being aware of how frequencies affect us physically, mentally, and emotionally allows us to take more control of what we decide to take in. So let's talk about the facts. Listening to certain frequencies can cause our bodies to be in or out of beta and gamma states, okay? And when we're in beta or gamma states, it causes higher alertness, higher focus, but it can also cause anxiety. So I don't know if you've ever heard a song that has just so much going on, literally sonic dissonance, that makes you feel like, I just can't, I don't like this. I just had a friend the other week tell me that she heard a song that literally she was like, I need to turn this off immediately. There's a reason for that. There's a certain frequency that you're hearing that affects how your body is. And the same goes for frequencies like 432 hertz or 528 hertz. That is known for bringing our human bodies back into a mathematical and biological state of harmony. It has been widely tested, the effects of classical music, the effects of music on healing the body, okay? It's no wonder, if we really think about the makeup of our body, if you see the way that sound waves travel through water, we are 60% water within the human body. It's downplaying the effects that things like the moon and the gravitational pull of the moon or sound waves traveling through our body has an effect on us. And this is why listening to certain music makes you feel certain ways. So for instance, Jhené Aiko, she intentionally tunes her music to calming frequencies, because believe it or not, you can do research on this, but a lot of the music that we're hearing has, forget the words, right? Because we already know that words are powerful. We already know that words literally condition us to seek out certain patterns in our life, to live out certain actions in our lives, and to literally consciously and subconsciously make us feel things. But even beyond that, deeper than that, a lot of our music is tuned to a frequency that is very, makes us submissive to what's being said, as well as does not put us in a calming state. So Jhené Aiko intentionally tunes her music to calming frequencies so that when you're listening to the music, you are feeling more at ease. You're feeling meditative. I do plan on making a video sharing with you all music, playlists, albums that I have found to be very healing and helping me to ascend to higher frequencies, essentially meaning get into a better mood, feel better, literally have my body relax. But Jhené Aiko has not only her album Trip, which the words are very affirming, but also the frequencies. It's a really great album. She also has Trigger Protection, where she's doing specific frequencies that are calming to you. Physicists and scientists have found that there are frequencies that when humans listen to it, it literally lowers our cortisol levels and increases our oxytocin. Another example of music that is tuned to the frequency of making you feel better for me is Tems. I realized before I even did research into frequencies and how frequencies can affect our bodies, that when I would feel sick, like physically ill, I would listen to Tems. Specifically her two songs, Free Mind and Higher. I would listen to it on repeat and it would literally ease my stomach. It would make my body feel more relaxed. It was literally making me feel better, which was so wild to me. But there's a lot of music like that. There's a reason for that. So in conclusion, we do not need to be afraid of certain words and things when they're said, because anything in this world that's been created by God, that has been a part of this universe, is not inherently bad. There's nothing here that's inherently bad. It's the intention that we put behind it, and it's the way that we perceive it. So yes, if you want to have very chaotic frequency, or if you want to create an environment that feels chaotic or negative, you can have those frequencies playing, or you can have that frequency present and people will feel that. But that is, you are ultimately powerful, because the same goes for the flip side. The songs that we sing that make us feel happy, those are high frequency songs, the songs that we sing when we're together, the humming. When you hum low, or even when you're meditating and you're doing the sound, it literally massages our vagus nerves. We do not need to be afraid of these things. These are of God. They are inherently neither good or bad. A frequency is a scientific term. The next time that you're invited to a sound bath or see a YouTube video suggested for you for a calming frequency, consider first what you're already taking in. What sort of music are you listening to? What sort of sounds are you around? What even sort of words are you hearing and telling yourself? If you don't like the way that it's making you feel, become aware of it and remove that. And then going further, replace that with the frequencies, the type of music, the type of sounds, the type of words that you want to hear to keep you in a space that you want to be in. So hopefully this video brought clarity on the term frequency. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.